All right, good work day. Got some good situational football, some longer series in there. So we had to strain through some coming out, some third down. So it was a good day overall.
After watching the film from Saturday, how do you think your quarterbacks performed overall and kind of mastering the system?
Yeah, some good, some bad. But overall, I thought we were able to create some more shots than we probably have so far this spring. Get the ball down the field. Timing fundamentals is as important for that position as any other position. So some cleanup there, but overall, decent operation. I still think it can be better.
What have you seen from Mackay throughout this first half of spring?
Yeah, physicality. I think he's still learning the system. It's really hard, to pick it up. But he's a big back that runs tough, and a willingness to work. He's kind of a quiet warrior out there on the field, but certainly pushing to be good.
I ask you about the two true freshman running backs and just kind of what you've seen so far. Obviously, probably limited with Dier, but just kind of some early impressions on what those guys.
Yeah, Dier got here a little bit later, and he's picking it up quick. He had some great runs in the scrimmage. Didn't go down on contact. And once he picks this up, I think he's going to be a great fit. And then Jordan's really a physical runner. Did a good job. It's a little bit different when you make a tackle on scrimmage day. A guy like that's always falling forward and does a great job pushing the ball down the field.
On Saturday, you talked about explosion plays. Who made those for you guys on Saturday?
Oh, we had a number of them. Yeah, I'm not going to name every single one of them, but we had some guys that got the ball down the field. When he started off, Gary Bryant had hit a big bomb in a coming out situation, but we had several guys that were able to hit some explosives.
No, he's been here a little bit less, but Theron Johnson, just what's stood out about him and what drew you guys to him in the first place?
Yeah, savviness, is just as far as understanding the position. I think he understands like leverage and maintenance, and just you can tell he's played. He's got an intelligent player, right? Picks it up, plays with physicality, has a chip on his shoulder. So all those things are really sticking out for Theron so far.
What type of improvement have you seen from DeJuan so far from last year to this year?
Say that again.
DeJuan Riggs.
Yeah, Dink has done, again, a great job. It's the difference in knowing the system and not knowing it and learning it, right? And he's a guy that now understands where to hit, right, on a certain path, understands, where he's going to be at in a route, where he's at. So, like, picking up the system, I think, is huge for him. But he's proven to be a guy that's elusive, that can also get vertical fast, plays the game the right way.
Dying to practice, you're past halfway. Just where has this team improved since day one? You talked about growth all spring.
Yeah, I mean, again, leadership was one of the biggest pieces that we wanted to see showed up. And I'm starting to see that, right? Players holding each other accountable at a higher level. Just the operation, right? Knowing my assignment, knowing my job. I think there's a big difference going into year 4 than year 1 whenever it's really clear what you're trying to create and execute. So all that's showing up for us so far this spring.
Dan, I know you're focused on the here and now, but the draft is in about 10 days or so. To certain guys in your staff specifically, do you think that Tony has gotten enough credit in the big picture? And I don't mean internally, I mean even externally, because after next week's draft, I think it's going to be 5 interior D linemen drafted over a couple of years. And if you add in the UDFAs, 8 or 9 guys, there aren't too many D-line coaches in America who are going to say that they have that many guys over 3 years. Do you think he gets enough credit for what he's helped develop?
I can't speak to the credit. I know how much we appreciate Tony, right? We don't spend a lot of time looking at the outside noise, but I'll say this. If you want to play in the NFL and you want to play defensive line, obviously Tony's done a great job of getting guys there, right? And, I think this year will probably be a new record for Oregon as far as guys drafted, and certainly the D-line's been a huge piece of that. And Tony works incredibly hard. I think he gets to wear a different hat here as a coach and a father, right, on this team. But you see the way he coaches those guys every day, the way he prepares, the way he works, the way our D-line is played here. And I think that's great credit to Coach Tuioti.
Here's about Jay Harris, and kind of we know that the physical talent is there, but how has he kind of come along learning the system more this year?
Yeah, he's come along really well. He got dinged early in the scrimmage, this past scrimmage, and he was anxious to get back out there on the field, right? He's just one of those guys that wants to be out there helping his team. I think he's running with better pad level. It's been kind of a point of emphasis for him. And then again, understanding what we're trying to do, learning the plays. And when he knows, he's a guy that can create, big ones.
Two more, Eric. Ez was obviously a big weapon receiver, but also as a return guy. I'm wondering if there's been anybody kind of emerging that's impressed you, or kind of where that status is at.
Yeah, probably early. I mean, we're working a lot of guys at those positions, both, and it's more about like who can be above the line, who can be below the line. In special teams, I think it's more important than anything that you focus on getting possession of the ball. And Tez had some really dynamic returns, but just as important is him being able to catch the ball when somebody's in his face. That's hard to recreate. So try and take opportunities to recreate that in practice. I think we got several guys that could be in position to do that. We'll keep working it as we go through spring ball and fall camp. Last question, James.
For as much as you and Marshall can plan for and have contingencies for as many things as possible, Dan, how much does the ambiguity of the house settlement and roster limits impact outlook where everybody was planning for 105 with 85 scholarship and now there may be a grandfathering in and phasing in, and but you guys like didn't take any new walk-ons this spring, I think, I'm sure in part because you were planning for 105. If that's not the case, how does that have to change plans for you over the next couple of months?
Adapt. You got to be ready to adapt. That's one thing we've learned about college football, right? It's going to continue to change. You got to be the team that's ready to adapt when that happens. And I like our roster. I like who we have on our team right now. So hopefully every one of those players that have worked really hard get the opportunity to be a part of the roster in fall camp. But we don't completely control all that, so we'll see how it plays out.